Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Three Warlocks podcast. I am your host, Vega, the host with the most, and with me, I have my two other co-hosts, and there are Snail and Ness. How are you guys doing on this beautiful Friday evening?
DMX
I'm
died.
good.
DMX
That's not
died.
the most notable death of the day.
Somebody else died? DMX died. DMX.
She's not lying. DMX did pass away today.
He did, yes.
I think that's the only thing I saw on the news desk. You're right. I don't think.
Yeah, that's all I saw on my news feed. Wait, did something else happen, Snail?
I don't know. Are we actually recording this meeting?
Yeah, we're recording this.
We've been recording. Why did you flip me off?
I was about to hang up.
Oh, man. Well, you know what? That's a good thing you guys brought that up. I was going to ask you guys how was your guys' weeks as we catch up. We only see each other maybe once a week. So how was your guys' weeks? Snail, you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. It's been a week that started with great joy. So my friend and long-term watcher and listener of our podcast, Scuba Steve, announced him and his wife are having a baby, which is great.
Awesome.
Kind of a miracle baby. And then the end of the week, Prince Philip died. So one in, one out.
Oh, Prince Philip died too? Oh, wow. That's a bummer. So my week
You just lost the whole UK audience.
I'm sorry. That's a bummer. That's horrible.
Oh, my God.
He was 99, wasn't he?
2 months off being 100, yeah.
Oh.
Wow. And he retired, 2017. So retired at 95 from service.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were saying on the news he'd done 20,000 plus engagements on his own, let alone what he did with the Queen. So you're probably in the hundreds of thousands of engagements they've done together.
Yeah. He lived a long life and he lived a full life too.
He did, 99. Like, hey.
He was a war hero too.
Yeah. My week started horrible because Monday came. But then Thursday came and today's Friday. So it's good. So
bypass 2 days.
It's good again.
Forget Tuesday and Wednesday, huh?
It's good again. Groundhog's Day, basically from Monday to Thursday. So Friday.
Oh, man. Well, my week started off pretty good, too. Just a quick shout out. I want to shout out to some friends of the show, friends of the clan, the Green Titan, Jeff, 1985, Bear, Godzilla, Darth Jig. They were all nice enough to let me crash their game night. They were playing some Destiny on Tuesday. I kind of joined in, and they were nice enough to let me tag along, and we had some good time. Play some Destiny. Was trying to get a checkpoint for our clanmate Jay, a boss checkpoint for the raid. He still hasn't gotten eyes, so hopefully this week, might be a day that we can do it for him. But I was trying to get eyes. Trying to get that checkpoint for Jay, and then I met up with them. They were kind enough to let me crash on their party, and we played a couple of crucible matches, and they were fun. We'll definitely have to get together with them again, like we had our little PvP scrimmage a few months ago. So we definitely have to get together with them on that. But my week started off pretty mellow with them, and then like you said, today is Friday, and we're shooting another episode of the Three Warlocks podcast. So that's awesome. So let's get to it. You guys got a chance to read a TWAB?
I did. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of information, a lot of stuff.
As you say, each week.
Yeah, I know. We do that all the time. I was asking you guys if we read it, but we kind of have to read it because this is what we talk about in the episode.
I have to read it because I rewrite it and then send it to you.
I know. With notes, and actually the little notes, you don't do that anymore because Ness kind of hated when you wrote down your thoughts, and then they ended up being, I want to say, what, Ness, 22 pages long each time we used to get our script.
It was a doctorate, or a dissertation, really. 20 pages, too much. But yeah,
all the notes are up here now.
I could deal with it.
All up here.
Yeah, keep them there.
Well, I was talking to Snail before the show, and we're talking about that. This is the last TWAB before the Guardian Games TWAB, which I'm thinking that's coming out next week. It's going to be a major, a lot of stuff. Maybe give us some previews of season 14. But this TWAB right here did leave us with, I guess, more questions than answers, because they are going to be changing a few things, weapons, perks, and we're going to be talking about it today, which is the way the TWAB starts. Well, let me start by reading the first paragraph. What Bungie does is it kind of gives us a, I want to say like a recap of everything we've been doing. So what Bungie says, the season of the Chosen has entered its second half. You face the right approving on behalf of the Vanguard. In doing so, you put on an end to the growing conflict with Empress Cato and her followers. When not preventing wars, you also found time to investigate a distress signal from a ghost ship in the Presage mission, unraveling the mysteries of a missing guardian and discovering the Dead Man's Tale exotic scout rifle. So definitely we did all those things. I was talking to Snail about how this season has been probably one of the best ones so far. But at the same time, there has been so much stuff to do that it's almost overwhelming. But I like the fact that Bungie this is the correct way to drip feed content, I think. 1 week, release a mission or a proving grounds, then wait another week, let people get into it, then release another one. So every 2 weeks they released one. We had that dungeon release to the Presage, and we were talking about the rewards being something that makes you want to play it more and more and more. And this is definitely a mission that kind of keeps us going. So far, guys, quick question: what has been the funnest thing about this season, you think?
The story, or the two arcs of story have been the best thing about this season.
That's awesome. That is so true. What about you, Ness? Do you like the proving grounds, the Presage? What do you think has been kind of the
I like the Presage, actually. I like how it's still really mysterious. You still hear like a lot of storyline with it. But yeah, I like the Presage. I mean, I still haven't gotten to the Snail level of soloing it. So I have to get there.
Well, speaking of the Presage, I think Snail has some thoughts of the building and Omen about how they were kind of taking care of the Presage or making the Presage.
Yeah, so I mentioned last week that they were going to do a live stream of sort of a deep dive into Presage or Passage or whatever you want to call it. They didn't know what they were going to call it either. It was quite entertaining. So did you watch the stream?
No.
I caught a little bit of it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah, Presage, and then they made up other words while they were there, and the guy at the bottom was going, "You can't make up other words. We only invented 3." Which was quite good. So if you get a chance to watch the stream, it was quite interesting. They talked about how they came to make everything, when they decided to do things. People jumped in with ideas, like the garbage compactor bit. It was just the garbage compactor at one point, and when the guy said, "I'm just going to drop some screeds on their heads," I was like, "Where are you going to drop them from?" "This guy." "Oh, okay." So they did. It was like, this is nuts.
Yeah.
But brilliant fun. And then there's the whole story about the door. When you go that first bit and you touch the little darkness plants, they kept referring to darkness plants, but then kept saying it's not lore, so we can't tell you it's really a darkness plant. It's just a plant that likes the darkness.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I had that covered. Anyway, there's the room there with the door that keeps opening and closing with a little eye and smiley face. And I'm trying to make it really spooky. So it's quite good that they were trying to make that sort of spooky vibe throughout and tie the story in, and it was really good. Yeah, a really good deep dive into it. If you missed it, you can go and view it again. But well worth looking. It was presented by DMG,
really,
who looked quite nervous, but got into the swing of it towards the end. Bless him. There was some boss guy on there that was quite entertaining. But yeah, it was good. Well worth watching if you get a chance. I always like those behind the scenes things. Same with the raid one. Gives you an insight into what people are thinking when they did it. And there was lots of praise for the Skybox team, because they'd recorded loads of footage from Guardians who had just stopped halfway through the mission, which is why they did an untimed one and a timed one, so people could stop and just look at the scenery outside the spaceship and take some pictures. And they said so many people in missions have paused in the middle, just in that cargo bay bit, and just looked out at all the stuff around them, which is quite good. So it's nice that they see that and see the pictures and see what's going on in the community. So really good.
Yeah, that was actually a really good mission. Like Ness says, it's probably one of the funnest dungeons and scariest, most intriguing dungeon, especially a dungeon with a story like that with Catabiasis and Bato, right? No,
Good
Bato
old
wasn't in there.
Bato.
Good old Bato. Yeah. I forgot the ghost's. What's the ghost name again?
The ghost is Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh, yes, Caiabasis and Gilgamesh. Yeah, bunch of little tongue twisters there, but yeah, it's perfect. Awesome season 13 introduction, with the Proven Grounds, the Presage and stuff. So a few things are going to be changing for the season 14. We're going to be definitely talking about that as we go on the episode. But Bungie's doing something that they do every year, and the time has come for them to do it again. And now Ness is going to be talking about that for us.
All right. Well, Bungie actually, as usual, they love to support charities. So this year they're going to be doing their second annual support for Kilts for Kids, and they're also going to be doing their second annual the Seattle Ronald McDonald House, which is pretty awesome. They build houses and stuff like that just to kind of keep families together when kids are sick. So their goal right now is to achieve 77,000. So before April 23rd, 5 p.m., if you can donate, it would be most appreciated. Everything is going straight to the families who actually are utilizing those facilities. This is Christina Edwards basically puts it out there, this is just another chance for us guardians to help out in the real world and be guardians to our fellow man or children, really. But the Kilt for Kids, can we talk about that?
Yeah, you see some of the pictures? They're pretty funny. Like the ones that show in the 12.
All I think about is the fact that normally when you wear kilts, you don't wear underwear. Like, that's kind of creepy, that you're going to put
I don't
kids.
know. I think you have to wear
I'm just
underwear.
saying. I'll leave it alone.
The Scots
That's
don't.
all I'll say. That's all I'll say. And there is actually a nice little emblem. So if you donate, you get a nice little kilt looking designed emblem. So yeah, check it out.
Each kilt, the colors and stuff is for specific clans. I wonder what clan that they've copied up from. Yeah.
So what Snail is talking about is the emblem. It looks like a kilt, which is kind of cool. That's probably the first time I've ever seen something like that associated with an actual event with, like, I guess, Scottish heritage or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Because what is the purpose of a kilt? Is that like that has nothing to do with like going to war or anything? It's just like the way, like a heritage.
It's the traditional Scottish dress.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't really know about that. I had to kind of ask you about that because I just remember bagpipes being a instrumental part of like the way they use music and stuff, but I didn't really understand why wearing kilts was like really important with their heritage.
Kilts represented the families of Scotland. Gotcha. So each clan had its own kilt design.
That's interesting.
That's as much as I know about Scotland.
No, that's very, very interesting. I didn't know that.
It's comfort, right? Like, it's comfort,
Yeah, there are Welsh kilts as well.
Okay.
Because of the Celts and everything. Anyway.
We have something like that in America.
No English ones.
We have something like that in America, Snail. It's called jorts. I believe they're jeans that people cut into shorts and you wear them at barbecues. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. See? Ness,
you have your own thing. You have cowboy boots.
Juicy on the butt.
I know. Well, Ness alienated the entire UK, and I think from my comment, I alienated the entire Scottish fan base that we had. So we're 2 for 2, Ness. We're doing pretty good.
Yes, goals.
Oh man. Well, let me give you guys a rundown of some of the donations. $50 gets you that emblem, right? If you donate $100, you get the emblem plus a postcard digitally signed by Kilts for Kids team, mailed to you. $250, you get the same thing, an emblem, the Kilts for Kids digital postcard, but then you get some artwork from an artist, a Bungie, I think it's Mark Flegg himself who gives you the artwork. So the more money you donate, your prices just keep stacking and stacking and stacking. And their ultimate goal is to reach that 77,000. Is that what you said? 77,000?
Yes, 77,000.
Yeah. Which I have a feeling, and you can quote me on this, I have a feeling they're going to surpass that, honestly. Bungie community, yeah. Bungie community, the Guardian community, they're really good about getting behind anytime Bungie does a charity event, getting behind it and supporting this thing. And if they do it every year, and every year they haven't failed, so that's good to know.
I mean, they put a kilt on every kid, right? That's a good thing, right?
That's nice. Look at Snail. Snail's having a heart attack right now.
I'm sorry we embarrass you.
You do embarrass me, but it's okay. I put up with it.
Well, guys, we have one final Iron Banner for the season.
Yay!
And it's only important for those people that haven't had a chance to finish that quest line, and maybe you need to get some pinnacles for, I guess, to reach a higher light level to pretty much cover or master a Grandmaster Nightfall, because that's one of the stupid challenges of the the challenges that people are supposed to complete. It's complete a Grandmaster Nightfall, and I haven't done that, and that's something that I want to do. But sometimes you're not the right light level to do it. But now you have one last week to go and get those 4 weekly pinnacle rewards from Lord Sound himself. So that's going to start on April 13th, next Tuesday, and it's going to end on April 20th. So same as before, there's going to be, I believe, some weapons are going to be available there. So last time we get a chance to those weapons, I believe that you still have the hand cannon, the grenade launcher, and I believe the sidearm and the pulse rifle still around. Bungie did drop some weapon designs of things that are going to be happening in season 14. There's going to be 2 returning weapons. It was a sniper rifle from year 1 Iron Banner, and then also a hand cannon. I believe that hand cannon is a 140. And that's very important, because when we keep on going on the show, we're going to be discussing some few changes to some weapons, and there's a good possibility some of these weapons are going to become more viable and more important. The returning weapons are going to be going into season 14, or some new ones, excuse me, are a shotgun, and also for the very first time ever in Destiny 2, we're going to get a machine gun, an Iron Banner machine gun. We haven't had one ever. So this is really cool. I'm actually really excited for that. So those are the 4 weapons that are kind of featured on that picture. The only thing that they're going to be looking forward to in the future is they're going to plan out some time where they're going to be discussing new armor, possible new weapons, but they're saying that they might do that in further seasons down the line, maybe a couple, maybe season 16, or who knows, maybe season of, or the expansion of the Witch Queen. So that was pretty much what was going on with Iron Banner. If you haven't had a chance to do it, get your team, get those pinnacles, and save them, because you can pop them when the next season starts. That's what I'm gonna do. So don't tell anybody. Wink, wink.
Secrets of the trade.
Secrets of the trade. Never-ending search for balance. The TWAB continues. They're going to be making some changes to the coming sandbox, and some of these changes are going to affect weapons, and they're also going to affect perks, which is very, very unusual for Bungie to be going after perks and normally go towards weapons. They'll usually nerf weapons to the ground where they're mostly unusable. But what they're going to be doing is weapons and archetypes that need to be tuned in order to create a breathing room for other aspects of Destiny Sandbox to shine. So they have to do this now. So the future weapons coming in from the next following seasons, things will be nice and balanced. I know some people were kind of angry, they were kind of mad, but especially for a few weapons that people are no longer going to be able to use, or are not going to have this set perks, or use the way they were being used, and Bungie realized that, instead of having them sunset, because sunset's no longer a thing, this is their answer to that. So they're going to be working more on balancing weapons. Before, they were just going to sunset the weapons, but now balancing comes into mind. And they're going to be talking about the more in-depth in following TWABs. I believe the last couple of TWABs in April, because we are about 30 days from season 14 from dropping. But there's some archetypes that they're going to be talking about, some weapons, and I think Ness is going to bring out some of the things that they're going to be changing.
Yeah. So Bungie has identified that hand cannons are basically dominating PvP. So one of the things that they mention is they're actually going to rein them in a bit. They're going to try not to take away their range benefits, but they are going to have the damage and assist fall off by 2 to 4 meters. So roughly half of the range buff that they had received during Beyond Light. Snail's favorite sword, they're watching. They're actually going to be reducing the damage output for the guillotine. Sorry, Snail. One of the things that I also, for the full reserve damage output, they're also reducing how many attacks you can do with the sword. Sorry, Snail.
Okay.
As far as full energy heavy attack ammo cost is going to increase from 4 to 6. chip damage, which is something that I guess is on swords and bastion. I don't really use too many of them, so I've never. They're supposed to be bypassing like shields. They've caused an issue with stasis frozen enemies, so they're actually going to remove chip damage from swords and bastion. So yeah, that's basically the gist of it. Sorry, Snail.
That's a lot of
It's
stuff.
interesting,
A lot of information.
those points. When you think of Trials last weekend, and the top 10 weapons used in Trials, there were 4 hand cannons, all 120, 2 shotguns, and Bastion.
Bastion, yeah.
A lot of Bastion.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be
top shotgun, Fell Winters.
Yep.
4 million kills.
I hate
Oh
that.
yeah. We're going to definitely be talking about Fell Winters. The interesting thing about Fell Winters is the perk that it has. Now, Fell Winter has this specific perk. It's called Quick Draw. And I didn't realize this. When I was reading this, I was like, why the hell would you put this perk on a shotgun or in any weapon whatsoever? So Quick Draw, the way it's supposed to be intended to work is that the moment you swap your weapon with the weapon that has Quick Draw, the handling goes up by plus 100. Plus 100. I've wondered why someone slides into me and they're not even looking at me, but they're able to do a 360 exorcist turn and then shoot me as they switch to their shotgun. And I wonder why that was a thing. It's because of the plus 100 handling that the gun had. Not to mention just the fact that it's a one-shot kill. It was so unfair. And the fact that it took Bungie, I'm going to say 3, 4 seasons to realize that that's amazing, honestly, to tell the truth. Well, we can actually rest assured Snail's really happy right now. The angels are singing hallelujah. They're going to be putting limitations on that perk where it's pretty much going to be not used as the way it used to be used. So what Bungie realized is that by having that plus 100, it completely negated the downside of using low handling weapons. You know, we're talking about the 120 hand cannons. You talk about the aggressive shotguns and also the sniper rifles. So they wanted to change this. So what they're going to do now is whenever you swap to a weapon, that perk of the plus 100 is going to be immediately stop. It's done. No longer it's going to work. And also, as soon as you aim sights, so you're not going to have that plus 100. It's going to cancel itself out. That handling bonus is going to be removed after you swap weapons or you aim down sights, like I was talking about. But Quick Draw itself, if you've been holding on to a Quick Draw weapon like Fellwinter's Lie or even Astral Horizon, which I have one of those, that perk's going to be completely removed. So not only did they destroy that perk for right now, and then they're going to remove it in any new ones coming out. When you go on the kiosk and buy a Fellwinter's Lie, if you don't have it, it's not going to have, starting season 14, it's not going to have that Quick Draw. If you have any existing Astral, or if you try to go farm other ones in trials, it's not going to have that anymore. What it is going to have, it's going to be replaced with Surplus. So what is Surplus? What does Surplus does? Do you remember, Snail? I was trying to think about that.
Handling and mobility, wasn't that?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
After a kill.
After a kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it then has a small timer, doesn't it? So you'll have to get multiple kills to keep it up.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to reward you for killing people, not
Yeah.
from just having the weapon itself, which is kind of nice.
Yeah,
so
it's
that's
not a cheap shotgun like you had before.
correct. But that's good. That's right there to me is a balance. It's really hard to go into a PvP game, like you said, Snail, when the stats are showing that the top 5 weapons are either hand cannons, shotguns, and 4 million kills on trials on the Fellwinter's Lie alone on that. So that's very interesting. The other thing that they're going to be touching is going to be the Frenzy perk. Now, the Frenzy perk is really good in PvE. I mean, we're talking like recluse good, almost recluse good. I mean, if you have a submachine gun with Frenzy on, I mean, you're mowing ads like nothing. I mean, it's really good. But once you realize, hey, calm down. We're going to dial this back a little bit. So they are going to be dialing out the damage bonus from 20% to 15%. So it's only a 5% damage bonus. So it's not going to be constantly being be perked, I guess, or be on the that Frenzy perk. The other thing that they're going to be touching, which is very interesting. I know Snail and I were talking about it before the show. There is a perk called Reservoir Burst. And that perk on D2, specifically on D2, is found in an old weapon. And we actually had a chance to unlock it and did a quest for it. It was called the Loaded Question. And what that perk did is whatever what it used to do is it's almost like the perk that they used to have on D1, the glass half full. So as your magazine gets lower, it just packs a larger punch on a fusion rifle. Yeah. And it was just an instant killer. I mean, it was if you were at a spot where you needed to get a kill, if you had that perk activated, it was just taking it out. So now they realized that perk's going to be an issue coming next season. So they decided to kind of change it a little bit. So now that increases the magazine size in addition to its other effects. So reduce full battery bonus damage from 33% to 25%. And that's very interesting.
Hold on, Vega. That weapon sunset.
I know. That's why I'm saying something is going to happen next season. What are we getting next season, Ness? What is your favorite raid that you like to mispronounce? What raid are we getting next season?
Glass vault.
The glass of vault. That's right. The glass of vault, or the vault the glass, how everybody else calls it, had specific fusion rifles. Obviously, it had the exotic linear fusion rifle, which was the Vex Method class. That is definitely going to come back, and they have actually stated that it's going to come back. It's just they're going to change a few things around it. But there was a fusion rifle, and I know Snail and I were talking about it before the show. It was called the Pratheon Foil fusion rifle.
I remember that.
That was a really hard
nice.
sought, fusion rifle from the raid. It was a reward from the raid, and that one had the perk half glass full or glass half full. Excuse me. Yeah, and that thing used to destroy. PvE mostly. PvP, it was kind of rough to use fusion rifles in D1 PvP. But you can kind of see that they're making some changes because they are going to be bringing a few weapons back with that specific perk. So they're trying to balance as much as they can. So by them saying wink, wink, nudge, nudge, that was a little hint there. I don't know. I thought. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless they're going to de-sunset, but I don't think they'll do that.
Well, they have been bringing a lot of year one weapons back, or Destiny weapons back. I know people don't like that. And very interesting enough, I was thinking about exotic weapons. Do you know how many exotic weapons we have from D1 in D2? There are a lot of them. I mean, we have primary alone. There's a lot of them. I mean, you have the Mida, we have the Soros, Outbreak. We had some of the hand cannons, major hand cannons, the Hawkmoon, Last Word. So we have all these weapons that the people are bringing back from D1. Why not bring Vex Mythic class? That was a very sought-out weapon. Or do you guys remember the Plan C? Ooh,
yeah,
that was a gnarly fusion rifle.
Or
do you remember that one? I mean, some of these weapons are going to make the return over here, and Bungie's realizing that, and Bungie is making adjustments to perks and also to weapons. But the perk thing, that's a little interesting to me, because if they're making adjustments to perks, that gives you an idea of things to come, which is kind of nice. And that, once again, that all comes from the fact that the community said, the hell with sunsetting. We want to keep our weapons. But Bungie says, okay, if you want to keep your weapons, that's fine. But we need to make adjustments so nobody uses 26 hand cannons forever. So anyway, what I think is going to happen in the future, season 14, get ready for a possible meta switch in PvP. I'm thinking fusion rifles are going to be viable. I'm thinking hand cannons, higher rate hand cannons can be viable. Maybe some pulse rifles. Very interesting enough, we were talking about how I was hanging out with the TLC clan, Less Consensus, when we were playing Crucible, and then also on Thursday when I was streaming, there was a lot of people using the Crimson, which was surprising. All of a sudden, everybody just realized that they're going to be doing away with 120 hand cannons, so they're getting adjusted to other weapons. I was killed by the Crimson, and believe it or not, the Glacial Chasm.
Glacial Chasm, yeah.
Glacial Chasm. Really a lot.
Yeah.
Just Thursday alone. So as soon as the TWAB dropped, people said, okay, we need to change are thinking. So you can see whenever Bungie is dropping those stones in the lake that is the community, those ripples are making effects, and people are going to be adjusting to it, which is kind of interesting. So let's talk about some exotic weapons, Snail, especially swords.
Yeah. So out of interest, when was the last time you used a sword?
I use the sword, honestly, on raid encounters. There's a couple that I do. And also when Banshee himself tells me, hey, Vega, go use a sword. So it's not very often I use a sword, but only when Mr. Banshee himself tells me to go, hey, use a sword.
Yeah, unfortunately, obviously Bungie have seen we're using swords too much. Just in that one encounter. When I pull out now and again. So as well as nerfing guillotine, we're also doing some nerfs to lament. So the weapon clearly is an outlier in swords because it does more damage than the other ones. No more. So they're pulling it back. It's reducing its damage by approximately 16%. And also the chip damage has been removed. So chip damage is interesting because that was the additional damage the swords were doing as they were swinging through. So to lose that is quite a lot of damage on swords, I would have thought. And I mentioned chip damage. That applies to the Bastion as well, because Bastion does the same thing. But as well as Bastion getting a nerf, it's also got a slight buff. Come to that in a second. So Bastion is seeing a lot of use in PvP at the moment because of its amazing short spread, and you can kind of kill people from anywhere with it. But they're increasing the angle by 13%, so there's more chance it could not kill you in one, I guess. But it's been given the intrinsic perk to stagger unstoppable champions. I think that's something that will suddenly become very useful, I would say, in the PvE world. Because at the moment we don't really use it at all. But I've only seen it in PvP, don't see it in PvE a lot. So perhaps that's a semi buff as well, because I don't remember it doing that before.
But will it though? Will it be? Would you take a fusion rifle to a Grandmaster Nightfall? I mean, would you?
Well, if you're going to get stun champions, I could use different weapons rather than a hand cannon, a blooming pulse rifle to stun those champions, which is an absolute nightmare, as you can probably attest to when you've tried to do it yourself.
Is this Bastion buff, is that going to be happening like immediately, or is this going to be like season 14, do you think?
It's next season.
Okay, so by next season, maybe the I guess the mods would change for different weapons, right? I would think maybe an auto rifle.
But if you think of unstoppable, though, we've only ever had hand cannons or pulse rifles.
Sidearms once, didn't we? Sidearms, maybe.
We had sidearms once.
Yeah.
But hand cannons seem to be the mainstay. And the problem with the pulse is it takes some. You have to pause, wait for it to proc, then shoot, and then find it doesn't work. Then pause, get killed.
Yes.
Pause, shoot, stun, killed.
Bastion is an interesting. Bastion is an interesting weapon, excuse me, because it's something that's used a lot in PvP, but I rarely ever see it on the wild when I'm doing strikes or anything like that. It's very rare because it's not viable, but now having that perk, I don't know, people might pick it up, might use it, so kind of interesting.
To me, all the exotic weapons should have an intrinsic perk like that for champions.
Well,
because then it would mean we could use them.
Yeah, if they're going to be taking up an exotic space, they might as well have something better than what they have.
I think we have 3-4 weapons to have them already in there. We have the Devil's
Ruin's my favorite out of them.
Yeah, Devil's Ruin. We have the Symmetry, I believe, is one of them. Ariana's Vow. Anything that came out from Lament, anything that came out from like the middle of
Leviathan's Breath. Don't forget that, otherwise Jay will kill you.
Oh, yes.
Oh my!
Yeah,
I haven't even used that thing.
Yeah, Jay has the most gambit kills with that bow. Believe it or not, I was blown away by that, which is very interesting. But yes, Snail, that's very interesting. A lot of changes happening to the Lament, which we are going to miss that sword on the third encounter, or the second encounter of the raid. I don't know what the hell we're going to do. It's going to take us like 7 tries.
Yeah, considering that weapon is relatively new, you think we got that in December, and already we've had 3 nerfs to it.
Yeah.
How are we going to do
Riven? Really?
How are we going to do Riven? with the hook sword. Can't do it with the hook sword.
Actually,
Do it with rockets.
speaking of the hook sword, that's actually the reward for trials this week. If you guys want to go out there and
got
get
mine.
3 wins, yeah, get 3 wins, get your sky hook. What's it called? Hot sky hook or solar star? Solar star. Yes.
Solar Scar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've got 3 bounties stored, so I was going to pop them when there was something good. So I popped it and got my one this week. And funny enough, I got the one with the Thresh, the one with super damage.
Ooh, yeah. Thresh is a really good perk on sword. Really good perk on swords, man. That's some of the new perks that this season has brought. Thresh is one of them. Really good, man. Bungie's doing a really good job when it comes to perks. And then now they're doing some balancing stuff. People are getting scared, but give them some space, give them some time. They're doing it for a reason. Possibility. People have been speculating. Dark Drinker might make an appearance next season.
Really?
So if they are touching swords, they're nerfing things for a reason. So I mean, you never know. Bungie likes kind of touching that nostalgia button constantly. So it's good. It's only a matter of time before D1 becomes D2.
It's interesting you mentioned that perk because that now has been confirmed. It works in PvP as well, doesn't it? That was announced by Bungie this week. So you can gain back super in PvP, which means every running guns that can gain super back.
Especially if you're if you have a warlock like we do, there is that chest piece that gives you super from using the same, I guess, void or solar or arc thing on your super. But if the weapon has the same burn, then you can actually, and plus Thresh, that stuff will stack. So you can get your super constantly. So that's really, really interesting. All right, guys, there's been some problems with some Guardians. They cannot get their seasonal challenge done. There's a seasonal challenge. I just popped up in there on Thursday and said you must kill people with a specific set of armor. And I guess Bungie is telling you, do it this way because people have been complaining, hey, I've been wearing this armor and it's not working. What the hell? So they checked on it. Now it's the seasonal armor is called, the challenge is called Suited for Combat. But the only armor that will work on that is called the Prefectus seasonal armor.
Done.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the seasonal armor that we get from the
seasonal pass.
Seasonal pass, that is correct.
And the helm.
Which sucks because there's some people that did not buy the seasonal pass, and I don't know how the hell they're gonna do it. So a little rough. But I guess Bungie's looking into that. They're gonna be making some progress for people that missed out on that. And believe it or not, as soon as I jumped in this week, I saw that challenge, the Suited for Combat, and it was already done for me, completed.
It's complete?
For me, it was.
I need to log in.
I'm thinking there was some uncompleted for a lot of people that they didn't have, or they're missing maybe a piece of armor or something like that. So it was probably me. So did you have it completed, Snail?
I had it completed because there's an achievement I noticed earlier in the season to do the battlegrounds wearing a full set of armor.
Okay.
So I'd already done that achievement, and then that had popped that as well. So
that's very interesting.
I did run a couple of things with Ness, and she's like, "I've got my full set of armor on." We realised her bond was not the right bond.
Yeah. We don't need to talk about
picture.
We don't need to talk about it. Just such a tattletale. Yeah,
I'm giving the example to our listeners, you know.
Tattletale.
Well, they're going to be checking on that for any Guardian that has that problem. So now you're able to do it. So remember that armor set, the Prefectus set is the only one where you can get it. Snail, there's some things happening with the Grandmaster Nightfall, and Grandmaster Nightfall's dropped, I believe, three weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And Bungie barely noticed this week.
It takes some time. I have seen some complaints, funny enough, on Twitter about it, but I think it's specifically mentioned because of for Rob's behalf, because a snail never dies in a Grandmaster, as he well knows. But when Rob does die, can you please make sure you're still being active and popping in and out of your menus, because what's been happening is Guardians have been kicked from the Grandmaster because of inactivity, because they're dead. And there's no revives left, so the other two will be running around trying to kill the boss and trying to keep them alive, but obviously the timer's gone, and they've been kicked from the activity. So Bungie are going to fix it, but in the meantime, can you open up your character menus and look at your different bits and bobs so it seems like you're active, not inactive, So Rob, when you die, go into your menu, don't watch as.
Yes.
I mean, but if he's in his menu and you revive him, you can't blame him for dying right after. Because if you go into a
revive that's the point.
hold on, if you go into a Grandmaster, everything is locked. You can't do anything.
Oh, you can move the little cursor around and be like, I mean, you can...
whatever. And then you guys revive him and he instantly dies. And then you guys are going to be angry at him. What are you doing in your menu?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you a Rob apologist all of a sudden? Or what happened?
That's my boy. Okay?
His name is Don't Die. His name is Don't Die Rob. We get mad when he doesn't die.
That's why I mention it. I can imagine him now on his walking along, trying to speak to us as we're speaking about him.
What are you doing in your menu? I can hear it.
Oh,
That's
man.
my accent. Are you taking a mick out of me?
Oh, man, that's hilarious. Well,
that's the best accent you've ever done.
Well, that's something that Bungie's going to have a permanent fix in the future. But like Snail said, make sure you move your little cursor around while you're there. Season 14 is going to bring us the birth of, and we talked about it last week, with Ada coming back, Transmog. Transmog is going to be a thing. But Bungie's telling you to do something. Ness, what is Bungie telling us to do?
They're telling us to do something that I probably won't do. Telling us to go ahead and dismantle all your shaders because you are permanently going to acquire your shaders from here on out. I think they did that. Wasn't that a thing in D1 where as soon as you got a shader, you had it forever? You didn't have to pay for it, anything. Yeah. So they're doing a complete overhaul. So they're encouraging everybody, go ahead and dismantle so you can get your glimmer or your, the legendary shards from your shaders. I probably won't do this, but they're recommending us to do it. So if you want some more information, they also mention there is more information on getting reacquainted with Adelaide. So yeah.
Yes.
So delete your shaders. I won't do it though.
You look confused then when it said Adelaide.
I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to say that name right. There was like extra like vowels. So
you could just call her Ada.
But I wanted to say the whole thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to say the whole thing, Ross.
Go blimey, governor.
Oh man. That's the first time I've heard her real name. I was like, who the hell is this? And it took me a while, like Snail said. Sounds like it's Ada.
Marmalade.
I'm like, yeah, like marmalade. I'm like, okay, cool. Has a ring to it. All right, guys, there's a little thing happening here for players who purchase Twitch Give subs to progress the associated viewer bounty and Destiny 2 official Twitch extension may not see bounty progress appear immediately after purchase. Be patient. Players should make sure to visit Amanda Holiday in the tower to verify whether their bounty rewards were granted prior to submitting a support ticket. Bungie's been getting messages like, hey, bro, this is not working. And Bungie's telling you, hey, calm down, breathe, go talk to Amanda Holiday. Everything could be fixed. She has your rewards for you there. But if you encounter this problem, make sure you reach out to Bungie. So those who continue to encounter issues, bounty rewards should view our Twitch intention support article that Bungie has there.
I think Twitch tweeted tonight saying they've stopped it altogether, removed it because it's not working.
Wow. That sucks.
That does suck.
Yeah. So it'll be fixed, I'm sure, but it's been removed anyway.
One step forward, two steps back, right, Bungie?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that wasn't the only thing that was wrong. We get to the best part of the TWAB when we go on location. I believe there's a storm or a hurricane happening, so we have our correspondent Ness out there. Can you hear me, Ness?
I can.
All right, we're gonna be talking about some weekly known issues, and those are going to be handled by Ness. Let us know, Ness, and please let us know what is happening with our beloved colorblind community.
Thank you very much, Jesse. So I'm here on location in my living room kind of thing. So we actually mentioned one already. The suited for combat, they actually mentioned that the Perfectus armor is what you have to wear. So make sure your bond is right. So even if you see the season of the chosen emblem, it has to specifically say Perfectus. I learned that. energies, enemies are teleporting all around the place in various activities. A lot of people have been complaining about that. And I think we actually saw that in the battlegrounds, where an ad just showed up behind Snail and he was frantically running as he does. Oh no! Okay, anyway. So,
that in the Glycon as well, when the boss spawned directly in front of us, you remember?
Oh, I know. Yeah, that was not funny. That was not funny at all. So as far as a couple of milestones aren't working very well. The hunt milestone is not listed as being completed after listening to the Savala's transmission. The challenge, the Shattered, doesn't complete after finding Tolan in the Ascended challenges. Destiny 1 memories aren't displaying the accurate date of completion. And then there's some sort of mark that the Titan tab, it's broken. Read about it. So yeah, so for a full list, you can go on to known issues article. A lot of the ones that we've actually mentioned for the last couple weeks are still kind of an issue. So they're just, basically this is just the list of the ones that have just come in recently. So a lot of issues are still pending to be fixed.
Yes.
So yeah, back to you, Vega.
Thank you so much, Ness. I appreciate
In the studio.
it. Back in the studio. I'm in the studio right here. I finally have a light so you can see my face. For those who are going to be watching the YouTube episode, I'm no longer in a cave. That's awesome.
Hey.
Yeah, I have
no longer
light.
kidnapped. Right.
But thank you so much. And like Ness said, when you have those list of unknown issues, check them out on the website to get the further report on those. The TWAB pretty much ends with, I believe it's DMG talking about how they have conversations around the office about certain perks and certain weapons, and they're always talking about and discussing it, which is nice. They're trying to be as engaged as possible. They're going to be looking at a few things in the future that they're going to be kind of discussing in future TWABs in the months to come, and some of the perks that we're going to be kind of keeping an eye out, because they did explain to us in this TWAB that they are going to be messing with the quick draw, the frenzy perk, and then also the perk that is on the fusion rifle, the loaded question, which is going to be affecting some of the fusion rifles in the future. But they're going to be looking at the possibility of iron grip, also substance, unrelenting. So Bungie is going to go pretty hard in the paint when it comes to some of these perks. They're going to be making some tweaks. They're going to be making some adjustments. So that's actually pretty cool to look forward to. Not to mention Vault of Glass, it's around the corner. Also, in a few weeks, we're going to have Guardian games and season 14, Transmog, new weapons, new Iron Banner weapons as well. A lot of stuff to look forward to. There's so much stuff to get excited to, but we cannot get excited right now. We are looking for it 1 week at a time. That's what we do here at the Three Warlocks podcast. We give you information 1 week at a time. And as of right now, we hardly have any information about any storylines when it comes, since the Presage storyline ended. So we've been kind of digging and looking for some information. I believe Snail put out a bat signal to anybody who wants to suggest any kind of a lore discussion, and we finally got one, right, Snail? We got a response. So what is that?
Yeah, so while you mentioned Presage, there is more story to come, but not to the end of the season. So keep that in mind. Okay. Thank you.
Noted.
Added people. So I did get a request to cover Ada 1, which is coming back.
Adelaide?
And people
Adeline.
Adelaide.
Adelaide.
Just read that too.
Yeah, don't destroy her name already. So she's been gone a while. So people want to know where she's been, and some people have never met her. So who is she? So she's been gone since Beyond Light, and we got rid of the planets. Really, I'm going to give you a brief summary because there's over 30 pages of lore about her and her family. But the whole season where she came out, which is the Black Armory season, that season was all about family and her family specifically, and the things people do, bizarrely for love, and again with an exo, which harks back to what we talked about in Beyond Light with the Braze and Exos again. So Ada 1 is an Exo. She's not a Braytech Exo, importantly.
Yep.
She is a Black Armory Exo. In fact, uniquely. So she is a walking forge.
Oh, wow.
Which seems a bit weird, really. She can't just produce weapons out of her, but she does have all the schematics, so she can make them. But yeah, she's originally the daughter of one of the founders of the Black Armory, Henrietta. And during the collapse, which was sort of the post-Golden Age, the Black Army families were hiding whilst they were being attacked by creatures, which were the minions of darkness. So we don't actually know which creatures they were. We know that the darkness came, and that's why there was a collapse in the first place in the Golden Age. But while on the run, the creatures ended up killing one of the founders and killing some of the family, but injured Adelaide in the attack. And Adelaide's body was badly injured. So Yuri, who was one of the people in the forges, came with the idea to put her in an Exo, and out of love, really, to save her. So she ended up becoming Ada 1, but that wasn't really confirmed in the lore to the very end. So when we played the season, it was all this mystery about who Ada actually was, and then the story behind the scenes of the family, and talking about Adelaide. So it was a really interesting season, really. All sort of coming to a climax at the end. Mm-hmm. But you kind of see a picture being painted that they were a group of families that were kind of in the world of the Braze, and not really loving the fact that Traveller was around, and against Guardians in some respects. And they had a couple of run-ins with Guardians, and more death in the family ensued. Because once the rogue Guardians of the time learnt that Ada was a walking forge and could see the weapons that they were producing, they wanted Ada for themselves. So there is a sad story where Yuki actually gets killed by one of the Guardians, and they call it a man with a red drone. So we know it's a Guardian as we move further along, but they kill the Guardian. The Guardian gets risen again by his ghost, and then Yuki sacrifices herself with a grenade hidden in a bag, which kills the Guardian again, and obviously he gets raised again. But yeah, it's a sad story, or state of affairs, which kind of shaped Ada, or future Ada, because she was brought up in this world of not really respecting Guardians, and this whole thing about power being too much, and once you make somebody into a god, then chaos will ensue, as kind of happens when you start doing things. Although they make Exos, which kind of been playing God as well. But anyway, it's another story. But she's been brought up in this world of don't trust the Guardians, and light is not the kind of thing to go for. Which then kind of pulls us back to the actual season, and why she was so strange with Guardians, which we'll come to in a second. But there was an interesting conversation with her mother, or her mother wrote her a letter, which kind of paints the whole picture of the sadness of the family story, where she writes, does the name Adelaide bring you a flicker of recognition? It was your birth name, and you heard it every day of your life until the day I sent you without your consent into a new world, and you became Ada 1. So this was the actual story that tied the whole thing together at the end. When I robbed you of your ending, I've loved you since and before you were born. And in trying to give you everything, perhaps I robbed you of the final human experience, a dignified death. I know I will not see you again. If you want to know your past, know that you were born in the second time in Nobi Labs, where you were wounded at the labs. I saw you losing your fight. I did what I always did. When the chips are down, I created something. You, Ada 1. From what I had almost completely lost, I did out of fear of losing you forever, I charted the course of your life and made decisions that yours to make and not mine. Well, we yours to make, not mine. Learn from our successes and our missteps. Be bold, do not fear the future, respect the past, and never forget where you've come from, and try never to fear death. If you can help it, I know I don't anymore. You know what's funny? I never considered how lucky I was for the time we had together, and the envy of all mothers who ever lived. I got to love you twice. And that was the final message that Ada had for her mother. So you can kind of get the emotion that the mother is sort of instilled in Ada. So next time we saw Ada was in the last city, in a hidden Black Armory forge, sort of behind the walls under the Traveller, selling weapons, working with Spider.
Sliding ever down the floor.
Yeah, sliding lower in the floor. What happened to her ankles, we'll never know. Hopefully they fixed them this time. But yeah, she just didn't want to work with the Vanguard, didn't trust Guardians because of run-ins with them previously. And it's kind of bizarre that then she had to kind of find trust in one Guardian, that Guardian being us. But the one of the forges, the Volondra Forge, fell into Red Legion control, and she needed help. And then one day, a young wolf entered, which was us. We gave her a nice little present, and she said, "Oh, come work for me and save the forges." So I think at the time we were looking at the replica of Izanagi's Burden, which was a great weapon. They should never have nerfed the perks on that. I know it's still decent, but it's not the same as it was when it first came out. Anyway, and then ensues the whole story of what happened with the forges, and then we had the whole season with the forges, which was great. I love that season. Last year, she was part of Festival Lost, and she decorated the tower, got involved, and she was very thankful for being there. Then the pyramids arrived in the solar system, and that's kind of the last we saw of Ada, because she was removed from the tower. But in the stories behind the scenes, she was part of a project called Stronghold, working with Future War Cult and other unseen people that disappeared off the face of Destiny. But they are there, apparently, in the background. But they've been working together to protect the last city from the ancient enemy. And that is the last bit of lore that was spoken of Ada until now, her return. So it'd be interesting if we do actually get some story on her return of where she's been and what she was doing in that sort of past thing. But she was a really interesting character. If you get a chance to look through the 30 pages of lore, the story is actually really interesting and quite gripping in some respects. There's plenty of emotion into it, and all time back to family. Hopefully you've learned something.
No, that's actually really good information about her. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't know. I think I mentioned to you, Snail, that I practically almost missed a good chunk of that season. It just kind of surprised me when I jumped in there, and I was like, she's like, "What are you doing here? I hate you guys." And I show him a little key. I'm like, hey.
It was really nice.
She's like, "Oh, come on in.
She likes to drink it.
I missed you. Whatever." No, I mean, but I'm actually curious of what her story is going to be in the coming season 14. Well, the reason why we're talking about her now is because she's going to make a comeback in season 14. So we don't know if they're going to be expanding on her story, and we also don't know if maybe she might be going back to the lab to make some weapons for us. That would be cool. Or maybe bringing back some of the old weapons that we lost that are no longer usable. So we're talking about the ringing nail. We're talking about the what was the pulse rifle, the blast furnace. Ooh, that was a nice
furnace.
Yes. Hammerhead. Kindled orchid, I want to say, was the hand cannon. So she has some really awesome weapons, really cool designs. And then who can forget about the Izanagi's Burden, which is a really cool sniper with that horn perk where you can stack all the weapons into stack all the weapons into one.
What I loved about those weapons is you could put the little what's it called?
It's like a little
shard in them and made them glow.
Yeah.
But it just made him actually look superb, didn't it?
Yeah, those were pretty cool. Your favorite machine gun, or Ness's machine gun too. I forgot what it's called. That one had that. Yeah, Hammerhead. That one had that little nice glow on it when you put that perk on it. Oh yeah, that looks so sharp. So yeah, that's really interesting, man. If they ever do a show about Destiny, which they're hitting their heads on the board right now, they're probably working on something. They should definitely bring that story to life, man. The 801 story, because that's a very interesting story. Aside from the Braze, just the Exo itself, the Exo storyline. Even though she's not really an Exo, but just the fact that you can take human souls and put them in machines. That's very, very interesting. I mean, nothing's out of the ordinary. They kill us and we come back to life. We're practically immortal gods, like Snail was saying. So very, very informative stuff there, Snail, on Ada 1. And once again, Snail's throwing the bat signal. If you guys want to hear anything lore-wise, give him a shout out. He's going to give you that information at the end of the episode. But that's pretty much the episode, guys, unless you guys have any other points to go through the TWAB, anything that stood out to you guys, everything that's good. Don't forget the donation. Go to the site. I believe they'll have a link there for you. The Kilts for Kids, which is going to be kind of nice. Also, Iron Banner next week. Forget about that. Last time to get your pinnacles. And enjoy your Fell Winter's Lie, you shotgun apes. Enjoy it all you want. Because that's gonna be gone here pretty soon. With that, this is episode 25. We're thinking about doing something special for this episode. We usually do something on a Saturday. We film on a record on a Friday, and then Saturday we all get together as a 3 warlocks. Every time we hit a milestone, like the 10th episode, the 15th, the 20, 25. So now this is our 25 episode, which is awesome. 25 weeks, which I think is probably more than that because we took a couple of weeks off for holiday during Christmas time. But we've been doing this show for at least over 25 weeks, which is awesome. And we're gonna keep going as much as we can. We've had ideas. I think we were thinking about doing some dungeons. I believe last episode we talked about our favorite dungeons. We might dive into maybe a couple of our favorite dungeons and maybe finish it off with a Grandmaster, try to attempt that thing with Snail's going to get a huge backpack and put me and Ness on it like little babies. Snail's going to get like a little baby holder for me in the front, and then Ness is going to be in the back. So I know we have to do a shoot. Can you imagine that? Just Snail just walking and we're like two little kids.
I'll be doing this too.
So that's what we're going to be bringing to you guys. We're thinking Saturday, time wise, around 8-9 o'clock Eastern. Does that sound correct, Ness?
Let's play by ear.
We'll play by ear. We're going to be announcing it on Twitter right before we go live, because we are going to be streaming this on Twitch, so you guys can watch it live. We'll put it on our social media so you guys can get that information. But yes, this Saturday, when you guys are hearing this episode in the morning, when you're doing your walks or doing your chores or whenever, you guys will be able to listen, watch us live and do some of those dungeons and some of that Grandmaster Nightfall. And don't fret if you're listening to this next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now, and you realize you missed that. Don't be afraid, because we're going to record it and put it on our YouTube channel. We have our YouTube channel now, so you can watch this episode and many other videos that we're going to be bringing you guys on, and that is under 3 Warlocks Podcast. Search for that. Our channel's there. Subscribe, like, and that is pretty much it, guys. Thank you for joining us for episode 25. I am your host, Vega. You can find me online, always Xbox One, because I don't have that fancy Xbox yet. My gamer tag is Vega6417. Also on Twitter, my handle is Jasubius. If you want to dabble with me or join me on Thursday, every Thursday, where I stream Destiny, 6 p.m. Pacific all the way through 8 p.m. Pacific. So a couple hours. I do that every Thursday. You can check out my Twitch channel, and that is Twitch TV/TripleVega. With that, Ness.
Hello. So my name is Ness1. I can be found on Xbox and Twitch under that gamer tag. I have my personal Instagram, which is AlexisV1. And I also run the Genuine Apathy Instagram. So genuine_apathy. So please follow and like. Cool.
I'm Snail 2268 on Xbox Series X. And you can find me on Instagram, Snail1, because there's another apparently. I'm on Twitch under Snail, YouTube Snail, and on Twitter you can find me under Ross Heath, but also you can search Snail and it comes up as well. If you're going to send me some ideas for lore, send it on Twitter, or you could even send it on Discord if you like. Thank you very much.
If you have
Yes.
complaints, send it to woodensnail2267.
Yes.
Yeah, that
We're
guy.
still on the hunt for him. We haven't found him.
Thank you so much, guys. And once again, we want to do a shout out and a thank to everybody who supports our show, everybody who listens to it. We notice, guys, we appreciate everybody who promotes our podcast. We see you guys. We thank you. There's so many of you guys to thank, but please rest assured that we are ever so grateful, and we love you guys for that. And we thank you for listening to each and every episode every week. With that, there's nothing else to say, guys. We'll see you guys on Saturday. And always remember, when
When in Rome.
When in Rome.
in Rome,